Every photographer I work with has this inner battle. They want to earn like a business owner, but have the fun creative process of an artist. But these are the two banks of a river, and if you try to get both, you drown. So in this video, I'll help you figure out what each bank looks like, which one is right for you, and what your next steps are once you decide. So what are the main differences between treating photography as a business versus keeping it as a platform for your creative expression? I see 5 main filters here that will help you recognize which is which. And number 4 is what most photographers get wrong. Filter 1 is the goal. The main goal of a business is to make money. On the other hand, the main goal of making art is self-expression and actualization. Now, I know a lot of people have this belief that wanting to make money is somehow shameful or unethical. But what money actually is just a certificate of created value. If a person willingly pays you money for their services, that means you created an equal or higher amount of value to them. It's just how a free economy works. So if the goal is to make money, we can also frame it as the goal of creating value to others. Now, on the contrary, creating art can be self-contained. It does not require others to need or want what you can offer. It's just a release of energy. And measuring success here looks completely different. If a successful business is the one that generates a generous profit, a successful art endeavor scratches the creative itch the artist feels and makes them feel fulfilled. You can also think of it as Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Business is focused towards the bottom, art reaches for the top. And no matter which one you're drawn to, you can't ignore the basic human needs that have to be covered one way or another. That's why filter 2 is income. Business is supposed to be self-generating. You will need some initial investment of money and time, but a functioning business generates income both for you as a business owner and for the business to run itself. Now, historically, art was either sponsored by patrons or artists had some alternative source of income, like a day job. Only a very small percentage of artists make a decent income from their art, and usually only after years of creating. The other difference is that income from art is always unpredictable and fluctuating, just like the art itself. You're creating something new, unseen, and untested. Completely the opposite of a business mindset of optimizing, systematizing, and making things predictable and consistent. Now, filter 3 is the other end of the cash flow, expenses. If you know what a P&L is, you have separate personal and business accounts, and don't treat photography income as your own money, you're on the business bank of the river. But this filter is also about your decision-making algorithms. A business owns the absolute minimum viable kit. All the fancy stuff is rented only for the photo shoots that require it. The best money a business can spend is on buying back your time. And you do that by hiring people for the tasks that are very time-consuming and can be done by someone other than you, for example, retouching. A business also reinvests the profit into client acquisition and growth. This starts a sequence of making some money and spending it in a way that guarantees you make more of it, by both getting new clients and creating more time to shoot. Now, as far as art goes, you're free to invest whatever you can in whatever you want, whether that's a new piece of gear, or traveling to a new location to shoot, or hiring models or stylists for your next project. And any money you make from your art is just a nice bonus that goes toward your next creative endeavor. So the first 3 filters are about money. Filter number 4 is about how you actually work. Processes. And it's where most photographers get mixed up. Even the ones who believe they run a business usually have the processes of an artist. And if your business struggles financially, this might be the reason why. Now, the process of an artist is unique, ever-changing, and unpredictable. It excites your creative side and brings novelty to your work. The problem is that treating every client as a unique case is the most inefficient way of doing business. It's also the most expensive because it requires an enormous amount of your effort to provide custom solutions to one-off problems. We can split services into 3 levels of involvement: do it yourself, done with you, and done for you. So for example, DIY would be a PDF of how to generate a studio headshot using Higgsfield. You make the guide once, sell it to an infinite amount of clients, and they make the headshot themselves. Done with you would be they send you 3 selfies, and you generate the headshots based on their preferences. Done for you is your regular in-person photo shoot. Now I'm showing you this because our craft already requires the highest level of involvement. And to make it at least somewhat scalable and profitable, we have to standardize our processes to the point of each photo shoot being almost identical and boring to you from the technical side of things. And the difference in images comes from the person in front of the camera and how you manage to uncover who they really are. Every photo shoot has to have the exact same process that guarantees you achieve the expected results with the least amount of mental strain and effort. And the last filter is client relationship. If you run a business, you create what your clients hired you to create. If you're an artist, your client buys what you decided you want to create. Business is demand-driven. No demand, no business. Art is supply-driven. That's why it's both freeing and financially unstable at the same time. And it's not only about being able to express yourself. It's also about having to make hard decisions. For example, if you really love working with headshots and the demand just crashed with AI taking that part of the market, but you're an artist, happy days. No one can tell you to stop doing it. But if it's your main business and you're left with 20% of the traffic you had last year, or your customer acquisition cost tripled, you don't have a choice but to pivot. And I get it if these last two filters make you a bit irritated. I'm exactly the same. I hate it when someone tells me what to do or tries to direct me. I also hate repetitive tasks that put my creative problem-solving soul behind bars. And for years, I'd been trying to reach the artistic bank while holding on to the business bank with one hand. And I had to swallow quite a few gulps of that river water to finally realize I had to pick one. So you probably already know which bank you lean toward, but I'll share a simple 3-question framework to make sure you know which one is right for you. Question 1. Do you need this to work out financially? Is photography your main income source? Does your family depend on you bringing the money in from this? It doesn't automatically mean you have to pick the business bank if you answered yes, but not much else matters if your main concern is keeping the roof over your head. So hold on to your answer because it's going to matter when we put all 3 questions together. Question 2 is, why did you get into photography in the first place? What is it about it that makes you happy? Is it the ability to make people see themselves through your eyes or talk to them till they start to bloom in front of your lens? The technical side, the gear, the light, or maybe the opportunity to earn a month's salary in 4 days is what gets you excited. If the first question was about your constraints, this one is about your driving force. You will get much better results much faster if what you do is aligned with what makes you happy. Now, the final question is about endurance. Which scenario would you happily take every Monday morning for the next 10 years? Focusing on the business side, crafting offers and packages, optimizing processes, searching for new team members to hire and advertising? Or exploring newly announced gear, examining other photographers' lighting setups, creating new and unique projects that fulfill the top layer of the pyramid? To achieve any kind of success will take an extended period of time and loads of focused effort, so you have to be honest with yourself. Do you think you can stay on this path even when the shine wears off? So let's connect the dots. If the business side of photography excites you, if optimizing and building systems sounds like a good Monday morning, and you answered yes to question 1, pick the business bank. If your heart is in the creative work and you have a separate income that covers your financial needs, go the art way. You have the rarest thing a creative person can have, which is freedom without financial pressure. But if you need your photography to make money and your heart is in the art, you'll have to sacrifice one of the two at least at the beginning. Either get a stable income from somewhere else and use photography purely for your creative expression, or treat photography as a business first, build a financial foundation, and earn the creative freedom later. And there's a chance you're looking at this and thinking to yourself you have no desire to do any of this all day, every day. And that's completely fine too. Photography can be a wonderful hobby and it doesn't have to be labeled as a business or an art. You don't have to put any pressure on yourself to produce images. But if you decide it's the path you want to continue on, here are the next 5 steps for each of the banks to make it easier and faster. I'll start with art, but if you picked business, you can just jump ahead to the next timestamp. So if you decide that creative freedom is the one you pick, first you have to make sure you have a stable income. Unless being a starving artist sounds tempting to you, there's no other way around it. If you already have it, step 2 is to figure out your budget and time constraints. Calculate what part of your income you can spend on your art and how much time you can dedicate to it each week. This will be the starting ground for your upcoming projects. Step 3 is to define your short-term goal, whether to create a body of work for an exhibition, work on some social project, or just go and produce a photo shoot you've had in your head for a while. whatever makes you happy. Step 4 is to set boundaries. Decide what kinds of projects you'll be declining when the offers start coming in. It's easy to lose the North Star and start diluting your art when money is on the table, especially if your main income only covers the basic needs. Don't follow the sirens singing in the river. And step 5 is to embrace the spontaneity of the creative flow. At some point, you'll start feeling both the internal pressure to keep producing images and the external pressure to turn it into a business. At this point, just remind yourself how you answered the second question, why you got into photography, and whether giving into that pressure aligns with what you want. Now, if you pick the business bank, this is what you're going to do next. Step 1, decide on your ICP or ideal customer profile. Is it families, business owners, brides-to-be, or someone else? You can't sell your service if you don't know who the buyer is. Step 2 is to craft an offer. Here you have to figure out what the pain points of your ICP are and which of their problems you can solve. A great resource here is Alex Ramos's $100 Million Offers book. Definitely add that to your reading list. Step 3 is to build the SOPs or standard operating procedures that support your offer. This step is what actually differentiates business from art, and it's where you figure out how to efficiently produce consistent results on autopilot. What your client experience looks like, what you take care of in pre-production, what your go-to lighting setups are, how you edit the images, make backups, export to client galleries, and sell additional images. And all that is actually what my mentorship program is about, building your processes from the ground up. If you're interested, links in the description. Now, once you know who your client is, what you can offer them, and how it runs in the background, step 4 is to show them. You'll organize 5 portfolio photo shoots that match exactly what you'll be selling to your clients. Get some friends, contact past clients or hire models, and go shooting. You will not only create the portfolio that will sell your offer, but also test out the SOPs you've built in step 3. In those 5 photo shoots, you'll figure out the most immediate bottlenecks, skill gaps, and inefficiencies in the process. And step 5 is to address those flaws you found in step 4. Maybe setting up the lights took you too much time, or the duration of the photo shoot was too short for the subject to relax and connect with you. Maybe you took too many shots, or too few good ones. Or maybe the poses were very similar and boring. There are hundreds of variables here, and I have a free 30-day email course where I share some of the hidden mechanics behind the portrait session and make it easier to figure it all out. The link is in the description also. And if you're not sure how to create high-quality images in every photo shoot, watch this video next. It'll show you how to build your photography workflow that makes bad sessions impossible. But whatever steps you take next, the most important thing is that you make the decision now. Pick a bank, stay on it, learn the rules. The river is only dangerous if you believe you can live on it. That's it for now. Hope this helped you figure out which bank you want to be on and what to do about it. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.